Headline: The day I put $50,000 in a shoebox and handed it to a stranger. I never thought I was the kind of person to fall for a scam. But you were. There's a financial advice columnist for The Cut, Charlotte Cowles, who revealed in a very long piece for the outlet that she was scammed of $50,000 by a man posing as a government investigator. And it's not a funny story, but it's noteworthy, as I'll explain why I find this interesting personally, other than schadenfreude, which I do not feel, because anytime you lose that much money, if I lose like $5, let alone $50, I'm pissed off. So I can only imagine how pissed off she is. I heard about this story on the Red Scare podcast, and their theory is that the scammers might have been Nigerian, based on several references in the piece to a vague accent. And it's like, first of all, why would you think someone who works for the government has an accent? And the vague accent kind of suggests maybe, like, you don't want to come out and say it, but you got to read between the lines. And why is that relevant? Because as a good liberal who has written for the New York Times and other places, she is not inclined to disbelieve a person of color. So that's just one level in this story of kind of disbelief. So here's how this story starts out. Someone calls Cowles out of nowhere, claiming to be from Amazon about suspicious activity on her account. She just thinks that it's some random kind of mistake or someone's messing with her identity. And then they say that they're going to transfer her to supposedly someone who's an investigator for the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, who calls himself Michael. And Michael gives Cowles a very elaborate story about how her identity has been stolen and various kind of horrible crimes that have been committed under her stolen identity. And he's like, well, how much money do you have? Because, we need to freeze your credit cards. And she's like, yeah, I have about $50,000. And he says, okay, so what you need to do is we need to put that money in safekeeping in a government locker, because we need your money to be clean. Right now, that money is associated with all these crimes. So we're going to give you a treasury check for $50,000, and you give us the cash. Amazingly, she agrees to this nonsensical idea. So she fell for this scam, but she wants you to know that she's not an idiot at all. She lists her credentials. She says her friends told her, you don't seem like the type of person that this would happen to. Understandably, she's embarrassed. And I guess commendably, she's sharing it with the world by writing this article. I don't mean to imply that she's not smart. I mean, she's obviously literate. She's a writer. But it is a little bit of a lack of street smarts, if you will. And when you say street smarts, I'm not saying I'm from the street, but you want to kind of be hip to when someone's trying to take advantage of you. That's what street smarts is. So here's part of the article where Cowles lists her bona fides. I'm a journalist who had a weekly column in the business section of the New York Times. I've written a personal finance column for this magazine for the past 7 years. I interview money experts all the time and take their advice seriously. I'm married and talk to my friends, family, and colleagues every day. So that's her showing you that she's not who you would think would fall for a scam. On a Tuesday evening this past October, I put $50,000 in cash in a shoebox, taped it shut as instructed, and carried it to the sidewalk in front of my apartment, my phone clasped to my ear. Don't let anyone hurt me, I told the man on the line, feeling pathetic. You won't be hurt, he answered. Just keep doing exactly as I say. So kind of starts out in the middle of the action, and the author goes on to explain this whole ordeal where in a relatively short amount of time, she was scammed out of $50,000 of her hard-earned cash that she will not get back. So why do I care? Why am I even talking about this story? I'll say because I don't like it, first of all. I don't like that this woman lost $50,000 because she's an honest woman, although I probably would disagree with her on a lot of stuff. She doesn't deserve this. However, it does say something about a specific type of person. A liberal, white, educated female is a species that thinks of herself as very intellectually savvy and even superior, especially to conservative men. And she's a financial advice columnist. However, when she was put to the test, I think what happened is that all the credentials that she has, bylines at the New York Times, professional journalist, all that went by the wayside because credentialism is not a signifier of true merit. I'm sorry, but it's not. It's very artificial. And this Nigerian scammer, he might be the biggest scumbag in the world, but he's very shrewd. And in an evil way, he was kind of smart. And she was not. When it counted with her own money, the financial advisor was quickly parted with her cold, hard cash. What a story. Go check it out. My name is Michael McCara. Thank you so much for listening. Follow me on Twitter. And like this video if you liked it. And most importantly, do subscribe to my channel.